Beautiful Sunday. We're gonna start doing these every other Sunday, so hopefully that works with you guys. But let's go ahead and oh, well, that's upside down, but yeah, that, or it's that, whatever. I just now noticed it. We have a ton of parts on this side of me, ton of parts on this side of me, and we're gonna go ahead and talk about a couple other things. And if we kind of scoot you guys around over there, oh, you might see a piston sitting inside that Buick 455, guys. That's right, the Buick 455 is going together. The big thing I was waiting on was just getting things kind of moving the right direction. I ordered all the different bearings and everything, so that's ready to rock and roll. We still need to get a set of heads, camshaft, timing cover, intake manifold, carburetor, fuel pump, you know, radiator core support. So we still have things for the Buick, but we do need to focus on getting the Supra ready for racing this year. I want to take it on Power Tour. Tickets already purchased, and we have some major issues we have to solve with the Supra. Now, it runs great. It has a lot of pep, but we're leaving a lot on the table. So we'll get into a couple things while we're here today. But as you notice, there's a poll going. So make sure you click the actual poll itself. Let me know what you guys want to be able to see this year. Are you interested in seeing drifting this year? I've never drifted a day in my life except for accidentally around a corner. Actually, my buddy Roland bought a brand new, can't remember what year it was, but it's a Pontiac G8, and it was beautiful blue. That thing, it's got a lot of pick-me-up, I'll tell you what. The tires were a little bit cold, so when I went onto the highway, she went full almost send sideways. So I did apologize for that. I do have a fairly heavy right foot. It's a genetic thing. I'm fairly confident I got that from my mom's side. But anyways, so we took that on full side, and I gotta say, I really want one of those Holden brought over cars, and we may be seeing one of them. Not a G8, but maybe something else might be coming to the channel very soon. Maybe an ex-cop car. Who knows? You guys do now. Anyways, so yeah, that thing was awesome. Where was I going with that? Other than it being full send and like, oh yeah, do you want to see drifting? Do you want to see autocross? Do you want to see road and track stuff? And of course, do you want to see drag racing? And I have, today I actually have another phone down here so I can see what you guys are voting for, so I don't have to try to figure out what's going on with the polls. Anyways, so the big thing we had issues with on the Supra was, of course, the Australian manufactured parts didn't necessarily jive with the American engine, or the SC400 engine. And what ended up happening was we had to get ourselves one of these. So we weren't able to use this thing right here, which is a heat exchanger or intercooler for our supercharger, which you can imagine running 224-degree air into your engine is just really not very efficient. So we got this thing right here. This is in a different location, as well as I believe this is also in a different location. So this will allow us to actually run an intercooler, which means the engine has to come back out, which is good because we already have to do a stage 3.5 clutch, because if you see right about there, Just Mopar Joe actually noticed that that thing was starting to have a slippery clutch, and yeah, we got to resolve that. We have a 3.5 stage clutch going in. When we have that all out, I might even get some, as I've had a lot of people ask for engine mounts, so I'll get engine mounts made up based off of the ones I made, because they use the existing engine mount components, except for obviously what goes from the rubber to the engine and vice versa. So yeah, we'll see if we can do that. But the other thing we did is get an absolute metric ton of AN fittings. So in proper fashion, we are going to upgrade the entire fuel system of the Supra so that it can handle the horsepower that we're looking for. And once we get the fuel system upgrade, including this guy, we're going to talk about this. Now, I was actually talking to Douglas Glad. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him, but he was doing this stuff like turbochargers back in the early to mid 2000s. So as a lot of you guys have known, I'm now one of the directors for Hemmings and for the video content. And so I get to do a lot of cool stuff with a lot of other people that have been in the industry longer than I've been alive. And yeah, so when I was talking to him, like one of the biggest issues I have is, of course, the fuel temperature in the Supra is 150 degrees, and at the end of the track, it's reading as 160 degrees. So our fuel at the rails. This is the issue that you're going to run into. A lot of people think that fuel injection is straight up superior than carburetor. It's not. It's more controllable than carburetor. You have way more control, especially if you're running boost. The trying to keep up with boost with a carburetor and getting everything 100% correct is pretty tough. But if you're just running a naturally aspirated engine, carburetors are very efficient because they you know, the engine is asking for what it wants, and as long as you have the right carburetor will get it. So the other benefit is fuel, once it's in the bowl, generally speaking, unless you're running a cast iron manifold, is going to be, you know, sloshing around inside the intake manifold. It's going to be cooling down the actual air itself because you have colder fuel than you do, you know, in this fuel injection system. So how do we solve that? That's this thing right here. Now, this is not a sponsored product, but Aeroflow, which is an Australian company, our local speed shop, about the only one that's left up here, sells all of their stuff, whether it's AN fitting, oil catch cans. The furnace is about to kick on, Steph. If you would be so kind to turn that off. So yeah, not a sponsored product unless they want to sponsor me, because this stuff is not cheap. So the entire system is going to be upgraded with 3/8 and Aeroflow. We're not looking for 1,000 horsepower. I would be happy if we break 700, but we'll see. This is the important part. Now, the reason why I went with this, I don't actually need this portion on here because we already have a fuel temperature gauge inside of the fuel rail, so we don't need that part. But this right here is an incredible oil fuel cooler, and we're going to run the same system that runs our fan for the radiator, and we'll have that control the fan on here. So I saw we have a comment. Let's go ahead and go to the comment section and see what some of you guys are thinking. Doug, get some TA Performance Stage 2 heads for your 455 and go drag racing. The big issue with the stage, well, stage 2, so you have to be careful with the heads because certain TA Performance heads require certain intake manifolds. If you go with the TE, I think it is, heads for the Buick, what will end up happening is it will not clear my my hood, and you'll have to cut the hood. We don't want to do that. Also, you're talking $2,300 for a set of heads. 26. I think it was like $2,600 for a set of heads from TA Performance. And I believe I saw Edelbrock has a set of heads for $1,500. So currently our heads are junk. I picked them back up from the machine shop. I paid for the relative cleaning and magnafluxing. So we know that the heads aren't cracked, but unfortunately he was showing me the valves just sit inside the actual guides and they just flop around. So obviously that's no good. And it looks like I'll probably end up going with the Edelbrock heads. Are they as good as TA Performance? No idea. But, you know, one of the big things is I want to maintain a budget-friendly build on the Buick. So I want this to be a budget-friendly Buick. You know, we have $500 into the engine itself, plus machine work, which everything out right now, as it sits, we're probably around $2,000 into that engine, with the you know 30 over pistons, the hydrotectic pistons. The connecting rods have been refinished or resurfaced and re-honed and everything, so they're ready to rock and roll. They're pressed on, so that's all set. You know, the set of rings, the gasket kit. What else did I have done with the block? Other than just getting punched out and cleaned, I don't think really much else. So yeah, you know, I don't want this thing to all of a sudden snowball and we have a $10,000 engine in that car. I like the concept of running a Buick engine in it, but if we're gonna put $10,000 into an engine and only make, I don't know, 400 or 500 horsepower, it doesn't make any sense. We'll go with a different platform if that's the case. Because the big issue you run into is you start putting a lot of power into those Buick engines, they will crack right down the valley, split right in twice, right in twine. So we really have to be very careful. They're very torquey engines. They were never intended to be running high RPMs. They were designed initially to. This is a conversation like I had with Terry McGeehan. These engines are not meant to go down a drag strip initially. They were meant to just be put in a big old Buick and bring your mom to church and everyone to the grocery store and stuff like that. Let's see. William says, don't care what motorsport you pursue, just want to see videos. Too many shorts turning YouTube into TikTok. Unfortunately, right now, the biggest issue is the weather and my gig so I can afford this year. So this week is going to be in the 40s. So hopefully we don't have snow on the ground and we can start getting to work on the cars. As far as shorts go, YouTube is pushing it. And that's the only thing I can really do at the exact moment. We are doing what we can, and being in the role of a director and editor for Hemmings so that I can afford, this. Last year was very expensive, and I already am kind of looking at this year being very expensive. YouTube over the period, I make a couple $100 if I'm lucky a month on YouTube. YouTube does not pay the projects. I think last month I made $129. I think the highest I ever made in 1 month was like $600, and that was that was once. So I still need to be able to do, I need to be able to afford what we do here, and not only this, but I need to be able to afford 3 kids and everything that comes along with owning a house. So right now, wintertime was a perfect opportunity for me to really double down on recovering from the expenses of last year and make the money for this year. So sorry we don't have as many videos right now, but that's going to be turning around very soon. Also, the big thing is I don't want to make content that I don't want to just make content so I put a video out. Does that make sense? I want to make content that I like to consume. So instead of just making a video because, oh, I need to make a video this week because I haven't made a video this week, I really want to be able to make sure what I'm delivering to you guys is something that I want to watch. So do I get that people are upset with shorts? Yeah. It's just the only thing I can do right now. That at the end of the day, I can't not make content. I don't know if it makes any sense. And shorts are different than the long form content to me. Long form content, I want to make sure that what I'm giving you is the best I can do, if that makes any sense. And the goal is to make every video better than the last. William says, don't take it personally, just an influx of them shorts being pursued by YouTube is annoying. I kind of hope there's a bill that it just went through the House Oversight Committee, I think. And I hate to say it this way, but I would love to see it go through all the way, because then TikTok dies. And quite honestly, YouTube does a really crappy job on shorts. So as long as they maintain this crappy job on shorts will die. And I think YouTube, Instagram, especially YouTube. YouTube really isn't really a place for shorts. I have them on here because that's the only thing I can do. But yeah, I don't disagree with you. Shorts are annoying. It'd be cool if they die. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to explain. I can't say other than that. Unfortunately, that's just kind of like how the world has gone. It looks like... Oh, actually, that's surprising. So I've never drifted in my life, but I used to autocross all the time in college. I'm looking at the thing right here right now, and it shows that we have 64% want to see drag racing this year. Oh, we got a lot of drag racing we're going to do. Here's a question for you guys. This you just comment. You don't have to... This won't have anything to do with the poll, because I want the poll to go a little bit longer. Would you would you like to see more content of me covering the drag races in Lebanon Valley? Or do you want to, do you not care about that? Because you're going to see whatever I do, and we're going to be pursuing a lot more content, both long form as like adventure like stuff, just something that is consumable and enjoyable, something that I would like to watch. I find myself really enjoying, not only like Roadkill, especially the older first couple of seasons, but Weston Chaplin. I really love that channel. The cool thing about that is, or his stuff is, you get start to finish. You don't have to sit there and watch 10 episodes of something. You get one episode, maybe 2 episodes, and it's really enjoyable. And that's kind of what I'm thinking about really going for, in a mix of maybe some how-tos. I know one of the big things that a lot of people, I don't know how many of you guys in here are following the channel because the Supra. I know I have a lot of people reaching out to me before that exact swap, whether it's, how did I build the engine mounts, or, a bunch of questions about fuel pumps, or because you should upgrade the fuel pump if you have a non-turbo. If you have a turbo, you should be okay unless it's starting to wear out. You should just upgrade it anyways, especially if you're going to do anything with boost. But there's an issue with the oil pan. If you get the oil pan out of the LS400, it's a front sump. If it's a rear sump, if it's the LS4 or the SC400, the SC400 is the one you need to fit it inside the Supra. The LS400, if you're putting it inside of, what do you call it? The Toyota pickup truck, whatever. So I'm going to be doing a how to do the entire swap. That will include whether you want to do a turbo supercharger, or if you run a naturally aspirated, whether you want to run a Heltec ECU, or if you want to run the standard ECU, what you need and what to expect. But that will be down the road. I want to compile all the knowledge into one place, because I get a lot of people asking. It'd be nice to just be like, here's a video. This is what you need. And then there's a lot of other things we need to do to the Supra, like rear brakes, because we never did them. I don't think they work like nearly as well as they should. So we have front brakes. I've had issues with that. Cardone, if you're watching this, your remanufactured brakes suck. And I don't normally will like go after manufacturers, but you cost me $500 for one of my wheels, and the hardware kit that came with it didn't fit properly. It seemed like it did, but the first one I put in there as I was driving down the road, it decided to back out. We're gonna try CarQuest for the brakes, but yeah, when we changed out the Brembo brakes from the original brakes, which they're 2001 Mercedes-Benz Brembos. That's one of the cool things. Like in hot rodding, I find that it's not just going into a parts ordering catalog and then spending $4,000 on Brembo brakes. Hot rodding to me is the spirit of how can we get away with this safely and have a reliable product. So running 2001 4-pot Brembo brakes out of a Mercedes-Benz and a 2007 Nismo G350Z rotors, and a set of hoses I had made up at Meridian's, which is a hydraulic place down near us, so that you can convert the bubble flare over to the regular 37, 35 degree flare, whatever the standard flare is, that type of stuff, right? And doing it for $700. And then you get Cardone and the hardware falls apart while you're going down the road because it's 2 little pins that hold the actual brake pad in, and they back out and they cut your wheel in half. That sucks. Yeah. So we're at 60%. I want to hear from you guys down below in the poll. 60% drag racing, 27% autocross, followed by drifting at 13%. William says the 1UZ swap in the Toyota T100 is interesting, but good luck. Where'd it go? Good luck finding a worthy truck here in upstate New York. Yeah, no. So Toyota pickup trucks, boy, do they have a really bad reputation, well earned, for rotting out. They can survive anything except for the Northeast. If you like Top Gear, you remember when they just completely trashed them. And then Whistling Diesel, they survived him until he dropped it at 10,000 feet out of a helicopter, or off a helicopter. But yeah, they can survive anything except for the wonderful salted roads in the Northeast. So yeah, that's the other thing. One of the downsides of living up here is I can't take any of my cars out for like 4 months. So about the end of October until April. If we start getting nicer weather and we avoid a lot of snowstorms, we might be able to get it out in March. So by the end of this month, if we get some good rainfall and no snow, we'll be out doing burnouts. Not in the Buick. We need parts for the Buick. But yeah. Hey, Steph, would you be able to close this poll out and then start a new one? I'm looking for, would you guys like to see a budget? So this is a theory, a concept that I came up with that I want to action on this year. Would you like to see a budget daily driver for a family that could fit 3 kids and still go on a drag race on the weekends? Yes or no? And we'll start that new poll. Because I have a theory, and this like the Supra became, of course, as all you guys know, I built it to call out Uncle Tony. That never happened, and I wanted to follow through with the project. So once we get through here, I don't think we're going to pursue that, because I was talking to Douglas Glad, and he was like, "You're going to kill yourself in that car. You're forcing a car that was never meant to go that as fast as it's going to go way past its safety limits." So yeah, can we make it go faster and faster and faster and faster and faster? Yes. One of the biggest things we'd have to do is put a 4-link in it. And I don't want to cut up the suspension and put a 4-link in it. We do have a car that has the capability of very easily getting a 4-link. We could also always pick up something like a 3rd-gen Camaro and put a 4-link in it. If we do a 4th-gen Camaro, we got to do a wheelie, But one of the things that the Supra is not is a budget-friendly build. And I think I've told you this in the past, but when I say that car cost us a lot of money and last year was expensive, the Buick cost me, I would say the Buick probably cost me around 10 grand altogether between buying it, putting parts into it, which that's excluding the fact that where we picked it up, which was Dunny B's Fuel and Fab. If you haven't checked out his channel, go check his channel out. He threw like $2,000 worth of parts into it to make sure that it would be able to make it up. And then between that and the road trip home, we probably have 10 grand into that car. That's why I still want it to be budget friendly, because the thing's already been pretty expensive. And then the Supra. Let me tell you. So including the swap, right? And that includes converting over the transmission and stuff like that. You can do that swap for about what I did initially. If you don't want to put a supercharger, turbocharger, or anything like that, it costs you around $3,500. And that's it driving. That's it before you put a supercharger in it. Then the supercharger. Let me tell you, there's a reason why people like turbochargers. They're inexpensive. I mean, they still be kind of expensive, $2,000 into it. But thank you, Steph, for putting the Dunny B link there. The Supra was, again, we're forcing a car that we have a red one, and we saw that run 17.1. Could we knock it down to maybe a low 16s? Yes. I didn't want to break that car, so we pushed it, but we didn't push it super hard, because they are known for breaking the engine. So yeah, you have, I think I paid around 13 grand, 12 grand for the supercharger and the wiring harness. Then you have $2,300 in the ECU, and then you have $2,500 in the wheels. A little over that, wheels and tires. Then you have brakes. Yeah, so there's by the end of this year, that car is probably going to cost us around 40 grand. I don't have a sponsor. That was expensive. So the Buick is a great opportunity for a drag car, because I think we're going to use the Supra for kind of drag racing, like going on Power Tour, because they also have autocross. So that's going to be kind of like a mixed thing. You'll drag race, but we're going to take it to either Watkins Glen or Lime Rock, which, if you guys don't know what Lime Rock and Watkins Glen is, my God, those places are awesome. So we'll go there. But budget friendly it is not. So what do we do to kind of fill that position if you're looking to build a car as a family? Like, if I wanted a budget friendly car to be able to carry the 3 kids as well as go to the drag strip, okay, I already have the car. in mind. It's already in the process. One of my really good buddies is helping me out with that. We're going to be getting that all sorted out very shortly, and wait until you see what it is. But if you can guess, okay, I have a sticker right here. I will send you a sticker if you can guess what car I have lined up for the channel. So that's going to be replacing my Adirondack, my Escalade, as a daily driver and a kid hauler, and I will bring it to the drag strip. If you can guess what that car is, I will send you a sticker. Comment section down below. Love to see what you say. The Buick would be a perfect candidate for a budget drag racer. It fits 3 kids. It does fit 3 kids, but what I would like to do, right? So that car is not pristine. And I've been toying with this in my head, because what Douglas Glad told me was, again, you're going to kill yourself trying to get the Supra going really fast. It's not meant to go that fast. The Buick, and I'm like, because he's like, you need a 4-link. And I'm like, Buicks, he goes, it's a B body. Like, yeah, it's a GM B body. They like everything you need to get that thing to be a proper drag car. And if you turn this around a little bit, you can kind of see right there. Oh, there's a piston. So we're going to see just how far we can push that old Buick 455 with the punched over 30 over pistons. And but everything's there. Everything you need. We can easily get the tubs for it and do a back half car. So we could turn the Buick into a back half car with a 4-link and set up for drag racing for a fraction of what trying to convert the Supra over into a back half car. You know, putting even if I want to keep limited or independent suspension, you know, you're still going to have to upgrade to an 8.8 rear end. It just doesn't make any sense. Especially when we have the Buick sitting right there. 89 Dodge Caravan with a turbo and a stick, LOL. That would be dope. It's like that or a wagon. But yeah, right now I'm kind of torn between just full send with the Camaro, or the Camaro. Yeah, I have 3rd gen Camaro on my mind, so like I really want one of them so bad. But yeah, I think we're at full send with the Buick. You know, we'll see you at the end of the year where we go with it. But the 455 is a good engine. It's got a lot of torque on hand. I am worried about it splitting in half, but I also don't want to build an engine that's going to cost me $15,000, $20,000. I know it'd probably make a lot of people mad, but if we're going to go full drag race with it, I say we see what we can get out of the Buick 455 as it is. We build it up with the appropriate components, and I'd say, you know, budget. You know, like if we're going to turbocharge it or something like that, we have to keep it conservative, because, again, no matter how well we build that engine, unless we're willing to go with an aluminum TA Performance Buick 455, which is no longer a Buick engine. It's more like a Siamese block with no water between the jackets. It's a totally different monster. It's got gussets across the top of it. It's lighter and it's stronger. It's way stronger than the initial Buick. But it's no longer a Buick engine. Why not just go LS? You know, I'm not saying that's what we're going to do, but like, let's work with what we got. You know, Buick 455. I had one of those caravans years ago. It was a blast. Was also thinking of flavor of a G-body wagon. Oh, wagons. If I was to go a wagon, I mean, I really like the Buick or Oldsmobile, where they like it's the Buick Sport or the Oldsmobile. I'm not an Oldsmobile guy, so it's hard for me to remember, but it's the Oldsmobile. Why can't I think of it? It's the one with the glass on the top of it. Buick Sport from like 69, like one of those. Or probably a Plymouth Satellite wagon. Is that a Satellite? Am I misremembering that? Doesn't matter. Probably be a Pontiac, though. Let's see. Hey, Bad Tree Productions. What's up, Lunatics? I love that. Lunatics. Of course, I believe that was first keyed by Peaceful Seas. I think that's what it was. Buddy's right. Buddy, I'm going to go ahead and send you, this is totally different, but you're the first one to, help my brain out with the Vista Cruiser. So email me your address where you want this sent, and I'll get it out to you first thing tomorrow. I got new stamps. We can make this happen. Now, you could still win the other sticker, this one right here, if you can guess what car is lined up and is going to... Whoop. That was nice AN wine right there, just getting thrown on the floor. If you can guess what car we're going to be adding to the fleet this year, first thing, as soon as the weather cooperates and I can get it here, I'll send you a sticker. Remember, it is able to fit 3 kids with 2 booster seats and a car seat. It's a proper drag car. And it's a V8, 4-door. Let me know what you think, guys. So far, it looks like we are at 80% of you guys want to see a budget-friendly build. That's the other thing. Comment section down below what you think about doing exactly that. A budget-friendly project where you can just buy it. It's reliable. It will hold up really, really well. And you'll be able to take it, bring the kids to the school in the morning. And then on Wednesday afternoon, drag racing. V8, more door. So yeah, has a V8. Has 4 doors, guys. Buddy, my guy. You're right. It's a Caprice cop car. And it's a very special color, too. And it has no holes in it. It was a detective car. Yeah, cop car. So, you get 2 stickers. How's that sound? I would love a Charger RT, but that would be, I don't know how practical that would be to put 3 kids in the back with a Charger. Or, sorry, a Charger? Yeah, no. A Charger you could. A Challenger you couldn't. So I think you said Challenger RG. Yeah. So yeah, Challenger RT I think would be kind of hard to fit the kids in the back of a Charger. You'd be okay. I think. I don't know how wide they are. I know my BMW, I had to get rid of that because I couldn't fit 3 kids in the back of it. Could barely fit 2 car seats in the back of that thing. For how big those kind of seem like they are, they're definitely not. So yeah, what do you guys think about a budget? We're going to keep it budget. We're not going to do too many modifications to it. We want to be able to have just, a bracket racing car. Something fun, something reliable. It doesn't have to run 11 second. I don't know what it will run, but we'll find that out. I'm fairly confident they are the fastest of the police cars. I may be wrong. And maybe we'll find out. Maybe we'll somehow manage to convince a couple people to bring something like the Ford Taurus cop car, Crown Vic, and a Challenger cop car. Oh, that would be cool. 1980 Plymouth Volkswagen with a Viper engine. That'd be nuts. Neon SRT4 hauls kids around good. There's a kid that runs... So, the Dodge Neons, right? Not a fan of them. I'll be honest with you. Their styling does nothing for me. They feel like economy cars that are just whatever. But there was a kid that had one at the Valley. And don't get me wrong, a 14-second car in a modern day is really kind of like pedestrian, and which is nuts to think of that way, because I remember when a 500 horsepower car that you were driving around, that was nuts. Now people are doing you have 800, 900 horsepower. It's crazy. But he took this virtually stock car with nothing more than a boost controller so that he can... I think it was just a boost controller. I think that's all he had done to it. That thing ran a 14. I'm like, a Dodge Neon running a 14? What? And that's stock. And the people are doing, there's a whole, cult culture around the Dodge Neons. And there are people doing crazy things with them, which is awesome. That's like the definition of hot rodding. It doesn't matter what you have. It's just build what you got and go fast. Oh my God, yes. So 71 Chevelle 406. My buddy has one of those. I don't know if he still has it or not. He had one in college. It was the Buick Roadmaster with the LT1. And that thing, boy, the shenanigans we got into with that thing. You know, you'd never expect that bubbly looking wagon to just do burnouts. That thing was wicked cool. I think he may still have it, but yeah, I would love to own one of those. 6% recycled. I don't know what that means. William says must be a 94 to 96 Caprice because the 91, 93 usually basically a truck spec TBI 350. No, we are going newer, guys. We're going with the one that is a Holden. So it's an Australian made car that was imported. And in the United States, you would find it as a G8, a Caprice, and another, I think it's the SS. And in Russia, might as well be, but China has it as a Buick. So we're going to keep it as a Caprice. I was trying to convince Stephanie to get the Buick components so we can make it look like a Buick, but she wants it to stay looking like a cop car. So boom. Oh, okay. It was a response. I got it. See. The 96 Cadillac DeVille also had the LT1. So, okay, I'm not familiar with anything in the 90s from Cadillac. I've only recently become a fan of Cadillac. Let's say the 63 Cadillac, that really done it. The Escalade, as far as an SUV, it's one of the greatest vehicles as far, like SUV-wise. Greatest SUV ever made. I'll stand by that. It doesn't care if there's snow on the ground. I've put 440s inside the back of it. I've put LSs in the back of it. I've put Buick 455s. Did I put the Buick 455 in the back of that? Yes. Yes, I did. I put a Buick 455 in the back of that thing. If the creators of that car, the engineers at Cadillac, knew what this guy right here was going to do with their luxury SUV, they would have literally lit their car on fire. I'm sure they would not approve of the shenanigans I get with it. Yes, William, it is the Caprice PPV. It is going to be righteous, and it's a cool color. I can't show it to you on here because let me check real quick. Maybe I can. Okay, no, it's cloud baloney crap. I don't know. No, I don't have pictures of it on this phone because this phone is older than sin and it's been sitting here. Last pictures on here are from when I helped my buddy out with cleaning up his truck. Look at that beautiful thing. It's my buddy Roland's Chevy pick-em-up truck. That's a beautiful square body. And all we did that day was just do the same thing we did with the Buick and just put some stuff to protect his patina. Yeah, Steph says no point of having a cop car if it doesn't look like a cop car. That is a very valid point. Let's see. 71 Chevelle 406 says the Escalades are nice. I own an 05 and a 2020. I have an 02, which I think is the same as your 05. And I was looking at a 2019. My God, they're very expensive. Very expensive. But I'll tell you, boy, the interior of those things look awesome. Very well done. Way too nice for me. I would end up totally, like, the kids would destroy it. I'll destroy it. I'm a graceful gazelle, so really terrible. So yeah, what do you guys want to talk about? We're pretty much through the shenanigans. Looks like we have 81% of you guys want to see, and I'm glad we have 20% of you guys that have commented. 16 votes. 20% of you guys don't want to see a budget daily drive drag car. Like a track car. That's something that you could take to the track. That's surprising. Very surprising. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, What one do you think out of the three? Because we're not going to consider the Ford Explorer, I think it is, or I think it's the Exploder. I think we're going to ignore that and say, what do you think the three contemporary cop cars that you can get your hands on? Obviously, they're no longer doing the Caprices. They might not be doing the Tauruses anymore. I don't really know. Not a Ford guy. Or the Challenger. Charger. The Charger. Which one do you think is the fastest out of those cop cars? Phones, the one thing life people will spend $1,000 on and accept the fact that they don't work right half the time. Yeah, right. They do have a police Tahoe. You're right. There is a place down not too far from us that sells all kinds of old cop cars, and they do have a couple Tahoes down there. I'm curious to see, but I don't know how well they're maintained. Like, none of the cop cars are really well maintained. But Gizmo, one of my best buddies, who's a major contributor to getting things done around here. When I'm hitting my head against the wall, I can give him a call anytime, and that is Gizmo. What's up, bud? And he already knows that we're getting a cop car. He's also got a really cool Supra that eventually we'll have to bring that out and show you guys. Actually, so it's funny. Gizmo and I have a very similar taste in cars because he's actually owned, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, three Buick Nationals. 3 of them, maybe 2, but maybe 3. I think it might have been 3. And those cars, doesn't matter what era you're in, Buick will always have a very fast car. So if you're early muscle cars, you can get your hands on a Wildcat or a GS. By the 70s, you can get a GS Stage 1. By then, those things are properly fast. You get a GSX. You can get, in the 40s, you can get the Super 8? I think it's called the Super 8. I'm not really so good at the 40s, but it doesn't matter what year. You could get a Roadster from the 30s. You could get, in the 80s, you could rock. By the late 70s, there was really like nothing. But by golly, 80s, we started getting some really fast stuff again. And then they came out with the Turbo 6 and the Grand National. And then they are proper quick. He doesn't have any right now, but by golly, someday we'll remedy that. A neighbor of mine just picked up a police Tahoe. He's swapping a 8.1 liter and a 4L80 into from a wrecked Avalanche 2500. Actually, so those 8.1 liter Vortec engines, they are proper engines. They are wicked cool. One of our work trucks has a 8.1 in and an Allison transmission. And that thing, I have had like 2 transformers in the back of it, each one of them weighing like well over 700 pounds. And just, the tool bed full of everything else and all the crap that's in the sides of it. And you could still floor it, and everything on the dashboard will land right in your lap. Like, those things are wicked cool. Like, my ideal use of one of them is to get an M1151. M1151? I think that's what it is. Humvee, or HMMWV. And swap that out with they're kind of difficult to work with because everything's crammed up inside. But yeah, 8.1 liter, because you can fit right to the bell housing. And if it doesn't like it, we put the Allison transmission in there, and Two stall garage. How you doing tonight? Is it spring yet? Boy, I'll tell you what. We were so close, and then we got a foot of snow the other day, and we're gonna have like in the 40s, low 40s, high 30s for like the rest of the week. So hopefully all the snow is gone, and we can get the Supra off the ground. And I got to drop the rear subframe so we can mount all of this stuff in there. We have tons of this stuff. That's so that we don't twist the rear subframe in half. we have to put the new 3.5 stage 3.5 clutch inside there. We have to put the watercross member in, which, thinking about it, hopefully I didn't lose the gaskets. We have this right here mounts to where the oil filter kind of like thing that they have. It's a hideous looking nonsense. That gets rid of that, goes to this, goes to AN fittings. That goes to, we have another box right here with the second one of these. And that is this right here. This one right here is going to be running the coolant system for the fuel, because I don't know if we discussed, we're going to go over, last year was more R&D. I didn't want to feed you false information on how to do the 1UZ swap. So last year was kind of vague on how to do things because I didn't want to tell you how to do something wrong. I want to make sure that I was right about something, and however many times it took me to get it right. That way, if I told you it was right, this is how you do it, and then it, you go do it, and then it turns out I was wrong and I didn't correct it, because it's easy to say you're right and then spread false information, because that will end up getting the most amount of likes. And we have that as an issue across the entire board as a modern society. It's not about getting the information out right. It's how quickly you can get the information out. And I didn't want to be like that. So I wanted to make sure what I was telling you was correct. Last year, a lot of R&D. We got things right. We got things wrong. Now we can make it right. Fuel system was a big issue. We're running 60 PSI. We should be running 40 PSI, because then you have a lower pressure with a higher volume. Sounds weird, but that's how it works. The other issue you end up having, because we're still running the stock fuel lines. The other issue is the fuel rail, or the fuel lines run along the headers. There's no way to avoid it, because those headers take up what little space there is between the engine and the frame rails. So we're going to actually scoop right past the actual frame rail where it goes up and actually integrates to the engine there. We're going to go all the way to the front. We're going to run a cooler on it, because we're running at the beginning of the pull. My average temperature before I reached the end of the drag strip, right at the very beginning, I should say, was 150 degrees. So put that inside your head. 150 degree temperature fuel at your fuel rail. That's insane. So putting that in, and then at the end of the fuel, when we stop the pull, the fuel is running at 170 degrees. It's not running efficiently. We're fighting ourselves. So running it into the cooler and then running it to the engine from there will allow us to better control, the temperature. Then we already have a huge fuel pump in there, but we have a restriction that is the fuel lines, which is another reason why we have hotter fuel temperatures, because when you compress stuff, it gets hot. And then as it's going through, you keep it compressed, it doesn't get a chance to cool down, it gets hotter and hotter and hotter, and then it reaches the fuel system, or the fuel rails. So we're going to upgrade to 3/8 line, or AN6 fittings, and we have a fuel pressure fuel pressure regulator on the back side of it, so it will be fed from the temperature, the cooler, to the fuel rails, off the fuel rails to the actual pressure, and then back to the actual fuel tank. So we will have a return system, because this is still going to be something you drive on the road. But again, I think the concept of constantly pushing this thing to the next and next and next level, like Douglas Glad said, that's going to get me killed. So we're going to probably use the next car to become the drag car, the fastest car we own, will end up being probably something like the Buick. Unless I can get my hands on a 3rd gen Camaro. Because nothing says like 80s mullet as doing a wheelie in a freaking 3rd gen Camaro. So it looks like 80% of you guys want to see a budget daily driver for a family. That makes me happy. I don't know what happened to 20% of you guys that don't want to see something like that. But hey, what are you guys working on? What projects? Buddy says, just got an 87 type, or T-type. Oh, you got a T-top Regal from your aunt. So you're keeping it in the lineage, and you're that's awesome. They are great cars. Now, is it a Regal? Is it a Turbo 6, or is it a Grand National, or is it just the Regal? So if it's just the Regal, then that's an excellent candidate for a drag car for yourself. Because I would not want to cut up, turn it, like make a like, we'll take the Buick because that's just a Skylark. We may have Buick GS components on it, but it's just a Skylark. And we'll back half it. You know, if we're gonna go drag racing with that thing and we really want to push it, we'll tube it or tub it. We'll turn it into a back half car with the proper setup. And oh, it's a Turbo 6. That's badass, bud. That's freaking awesome. So it's not just a Regal, it's a Turbo 6. Badass. Let's see. T-top cars are great, yeah. The only thing is structural rigidity with the T-tops are pretty bad. So with like the Porsche Carrera GTs with their target tops, the Supras with their target tops, the third generation Supras with the target top, not the fourth generation Supras with the target top. Also Corvettes, certain ones, they're bolted in, so that actually becomes a roof. It's a little heavier, but once it's bolted in, it is, technically speaking, a structural component of the vehicle. Whereas if they latch in, it's not a structural component of the vehicle. Same thing with T-tops. T-tops are not considered structural. So you have, I think you need to put a roll bar in a T-top car at like, I don't know, 13 seconds, 10, I don't know. You have to put it in before you'd have to a target top or a hard top car. 6% Recycle says, I have a Cherokee chassis fused to a Rambler body. That's really cool, actually. I'm trying to fix on my channel called the... I'll have to take a look at that. That sounds really neat. Yeah, people, go take a look at... it's called Chambler, the channel, and take a look at that. That sounds wicked cool. Renson with Grandpa, how you doing today? Checking in. Work continues on the 66 CUDA. Got a 04 Tahoe coming up for an off-road ride. I'll tell you what. So the Tahoe's basically the same thing as my Escalade, just different interior. Wicked cool vehicles. You got to do something about the air ride. Did you delete that? What? Let me know, because I'm not going to completely get rid of my Escalade. I'm probably going to put a snowplow on it and then just drive it in the winter. And my entire air ride system rotted out. Actually, it's been rotted out. Literally rotted out. There was nothing left of it. The box that held it was totally toasted. Curious to see what you're going to do with that. 71 Chevelle 406. Big support of the channel. I got to say, he's actually done a lot for this channel. So huge shout out to him. Some of the T-types are rarer than the Grand Nationals. Yes. I'm sure they're even more rare now, seeing how you were less likely to try to save them. Joe's Mopar Mass. Just got my 66 Charger running and driving. Got followed home the first time to look. That's really cool. I mean, it's kind of weird having people either follow you somewhere. I've had people do that very rarely with the Buick, but people have done it, and a person has done that once with the Supra. And that feeling when you pull into the gas station, it's the person pulls up alongside you, like, oh, what did I do? You know? And then when they're like, oh yeah, so it's that's a pretty cool feeling. But like, there's that moment of, uh-oh, what's gonna happen? So yeah, take a look at 6%. Oh, that's the name of the car, is called Chapel. Okay, so let me really quick dial that back. Go take a look at 6% Recycled. Hit the subscribe button. That sounds like a really cool project. I want to take a look at his project called the Chambler. That's really neat. William says body flex is real in the T-top cars. I installed subframe connectors in my Malibu 92 Firebird Formula 20 years ago, just for that reason. Yeah, it's... Let me tell you something. I will not take the target top out of the Supra. I will not do that currently. And the reason why is back in the day, I know how they become a pool noodle. So even with the straight six, which is it's kind of a torquey engine. It's not really that like groundbreaking. You might have like, I don't know, 240 foot-pounds of torque in that thing, right? And you're going down the road with it, and if you if you take the target top out, the thing is as twisty as like an original boxed out Ford Model B. Like the thing is just like, ugh, it's horrible. Like, don't do it. So yeah, the target top is 100% not functional in that car. It just adds weight to it, because I have a feeling that if I were to take the target top out of the black Supra with the supercharged V8 in it right now and just gave it the beans, I might have a hard time putting that target top back in. Just saying. It may not go back in. Joe said, that's my first thought. What did I do? But then he waved. Yeah, like it's like, oh, because I'm not gonna say I'm an angel driving around. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. So yeah, having someone follow you to a destination while you're driving your car, you're like, but yeah, and then it's like you get to have that camaraderie. Like a lot of people had a long time ago, someone said what I do seems really like sad and lonely working on my car, but you get all the time at the car shows or at the drag strip. It doesn't matter where you are, you'll find that the automotive community is one of the greatest communities, period. It doesn't matter if you're into the JDM stuff or the import stuff, the Euro stuff, muscle cars. You're gonna eat like you're still gonna be nice to an EV guy when they come to an event. You're there for the hobby, and it's a dying hobby. That we're people are trying to kill this hobby. So it's more unified now than when I was a kid. I grew up, I couldn't afford a muscle car, so I had a Supra, because when I was 14 years old, I thought it looked like a Trans Am. Whatever. When you're a kid, for some reason, I remember watching a TV show thinking one of the animatronics looked like realistic. And then I rewatched it recently within the past, I don't know, 10 years. I'm like, that looks horrible. How did I ever think that looks real? So, forgive my brain for thinking that looked like a Trans Am, because it doesn't look like a Trans Am. Anyways, and I remember people saying, oh, I'll take that weed whacker Elsewire. Like, okay, whatever, bud. That doesn't really happen so much now. And I think that's very good, because otherwise we're really going to see the automotive community as a whole die within the next few generations. I mean, my kids freaking love cars, and that's what we need to do. We need to be the figures that herald in our replacements, and you have people that say I shouldn't be hot rodding an old muscle car. They're the same people that when they were in the 70s or 60s, they were butchering the hot rods. Like, don't be gatekeepers. We gotta keep things going. Wrenching with Grandpa said, don't have the air ride, going for horsepower boosting with maybe a turbo or a sniper intake. One of the Holly sniper intakes. Yeah. The coming from being a turbo guy, like up until I bought the supercharger for the Supra, I've always been a turbo guy. It's what I know. Not having the lag, not having to worry about, like, they've come a long way with turbos now than when I was messing around with cars in college, which was back in 2008, 9, 10, 11, that area. We're building things, and like we were talking, when I was talking to Douglas Glad, he actually showed me an article he wrote back when I was messing with things, and it's like insane where they were back then. Like, I didn't know he was, I didn't know anything about his articles. And, I was busy just taking the car that I had, and you can get those 7M GTEs down to a 1273 quarter mile, which is 120 miles per hour. You can do it. And most of it is going to be confusing the really shitty computer that's in there. You know, you're going to go get your Lexus throttle body. You're going to, not throttle body, mass airflow sensor. You're going to put 660cc injectors on it. And you're going to push that thing to, you know, low 600 horsepower. And the whole thing is you're going to take, I had a vacuum line with a nail stuffed in it so that it confused it to think that it would, you know, it needed more boost. So you're going to sit there and you're going to fight with it. Now, my God, like Mega Squirt sucked back then. They were garbage. And AEM was like the only thing you could use, and they worked half the time. So running the Haltech ECU, that Haltech ECU, like, they are not a sponsor, right? They're not a sponsor. But, and I don't just put stickers on here. Like, if you want, like, if you have a channel and you want to see your channel on here, send me a sticker, I'll put it up. And I'm happy to. Like, if you see a manufacturer on here, it's because they have, like, I got this for when I did, you know, I helped out at the Hemmings collaboration. So, like, Elate, you know, these manufacturers have been, either they've helped me out a lot by just having conversations about, or like this right here. Again, not a sponsor. I can't believe what that thing can do. And I know it's because I've been out of, you know, messing with ECUs for a very long time, but it was absolutely astonishing to mess with that. Let's see. William says, I have the same car. Cars are like food. So many variants. I love my little Honda Accords as much as my friends Firebird and Regal. Yeah, exactly. You know, I'm not a big, you know, fan of certain brands, but there's always a car that catches, like the Honda CRXs, the late 80s Honda CRXs. My buddy had one of them, and ever since I've wanted to own one. The thing was making dynoed 320 horsepower back in 2010. There was literally no interior. He would drive that around, and it would kick rocks around. If you want to send a sticker, it's P.O. Box 7, so Lunar Outlaws Garage, P.O. Box 7, Averill Park, New York, 12018. That's P.O. Box 7, Averill Park, New York, 12018. Steph, if you could post that. Yeah, if you guys want to have a sticker up on here, I'm happy to send it up there. And I'll try to keep you guys in frame. Because, listen, if you have a YouTube channel and you want people to go to it, you know, you're more than welcome to post it in the lives. And just don't spam it. Like, drop it once. If I notice it, I'll be like, hey, go take a look at this channel. And so, right here, which Coastal Auto actually had these stickers right here when he sent one of these to me, which was community, not competition. And I think that's a very, very good thought. And as long as you you execute on it, it's a really good thing. You know, we have a great community, and I'd really like to see it grow. And for example, if I get an opportunity to meet you on the road trips, you know, we'll make sure to put you guys in one of my videos. When I went down to Texas to buy the Buick, our first stop was to Auto Auction Rebuilds. And from there, we had Auto Auction Rebuild there. We had Santa's Workshop, which Mike is an awesome dude. Seriously awesome dude. He plays Santa Claus at Christmas time. And we did a Skype call, my kids, and he plays the part so well. One person that wasn't there that I have met when he was up here to pick up the Buick Regal was Monkey Wrench Mike. So a big shout out to everyone I met on the road trip coming home. You had Auto Auction Rebuilds, Monkey Wrench Mike. Of course, don't forget Dunny's Fuel and Fab, who we actually bought the car from. So Monkey Wrench Mike, Austin Carr. We had the next stop would, of course, been Just Mopar Joe, who treated me to an incredible sandwich. That was the best burger on the entire trip. And actually, Randy over at Auto Auction Rebuilds, he treated me to about the best Mexican food I've ever had in my entire life. It was freaking awesome. From Just Mopar Joe, we were broke down, almost stranded in Alabama, and then we scooted up and got to hang out with well, Dylan McCool. And I actually got to hang out with him on the Great Race last year. That was a lot of fun, except for the Great Race part. That was more tedious. You just sit there and look at the speedometer for the entire race. But the people around the race, like I had a ton of fun with the support team. Great group of peoples. From Dylan McCool, we got to meet the legendary, the myth, the man, the legend that is Tall John's Fun Shop. If you haven't checked out his channel, make sure you do. And then 99% of you guys probably know, but if you don't, we left there and we got to hang out with, is it Cousin Eddie? I mean, if you saw the video, you'd get the joke on that. But, you know, from there, we met up with John Wilburn. John Wilburn, I'm fairly confident, hangs out with a whole bunch of different YouTube communities. And he's a great dude. From there, well, then we went up and got to hang out with the car company that actually was one of the sponsors for that road trip. We've had 2 sponsors for this entire channel. And that was Buick parts from Cars LLC. And we had Jonathan, who actually, if you want to help support the channel, you can actually go over to Lunar Outlaw's garage little web page that he has set up for our point of sale. He makes all of our shirts, and if you want to support the Supra, you can pick up any of the Sovereign shirts, the stickers, anything you buy of the Supra, any of that merch, that will go directly into the Supra. If you buy any of the Buick t-shirts, that will go directly into the Buick. And I am trying to fund a project. I want a project to return, but I need your guys' help with it. And I don't want to be like, oh yeah, just go to my PayPal and send me money. I want you guys to be able to have something out of it, and that is, I want to bring the satellite back. I want to put a 440 in it this year. So if you want to be able to support that project, pick up a Cerberus t-shirt, and that will go directly into the satellite. So I don't, I really don't like plugging merchandise and stuff like that, but this is out of my pocket, guys, and it's. So anything you can do to help, that's the landing page right now to be able to pick up merchandise, which goes directly to it. So Jonathan's going to tell me, hey, you sold this X amount of t-shirts of the satellite, there's X amount of t-shirts for the Buick, and this X amount of t-shirts for the Supra. And when I get that money, it will go earmarked directly for that project. William says, Santa's Workshop, Monkey Wrench Mike, awesome channels. Randy is cool too. Yeah, if you guys have a chance, go take a look at those channels and hit the subscribe button. I think we're going to be seeing a lot from Santa's Workshop too this year. And Monkey Wrench Mike, he's almost at 40,000 subscribers. He's growing quick. Austin Carr says, Austin Carr, I believe, could have a good channel if he put the effort into it. Yeah, I mean, the issue is it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time to do it. 71 Chevelle says he likes the satellite. He sent a lot for that car. I mean, that whole shifter, the Hurst shifter that's in there is from him. So again, a huge shout out. How about the V10 pickup? So the V10 pickup, I get a lot of questions about that. It will return. The point of that vehicle was to be a shop truck. The Escalade fills that role right now. And the reason why I stopped on the 81 Ram is because, one, I have to be conscious about trying to make good business decisions. And I've had like maybe 5 people interested in that project other than myself. And also at less than 8 miles to the gallon with that, it's pretty tough to finish that up when gas. A lot of people are saying, oh, gas is down. No, gas is still up. It's just less expensive than what it was. So until gas goes to what it was a little over 2 years ago, it's just not a practical vehicle. I was able to tow the Buick Regal home for, I think I was getting like 11 miles to the gallon, except for up the Mass Pike. That was pretty bad. That was pretty tough. Going up the Mass Pike, that's, gas mileage sucks down that anyways, or up that anyways, I should say. Oh, Mexican's back. How you doing tonight, man? I did not see you there. Buddy, make sure you email me so I can get those stickers out to you. But so let's recap before we close out tonight's thing. We have a bunch of stuff for the Buick, and like we have, where is it? Oh, the box is up on top of there, right there. As you can see, right there, that little glint, that is a piston. So we still need a camshaft. So we need a camshaft. Again, if you want to pick up the t-shirt with the Buick on it, it's going right to that engine because we got back, the heads are junk. There's not a crack in it, but everything needs to be replaced. They're wiped out. The actual valves just... So my email is LunarOutlaw@gmail.com or KILOWADS@gmail.com. Stephanie, if you could put them in there. That's my company. And because, again, the way I'm going to fund this year is the fact that I'm a director and editor for, not for Hemmings, my company's Kilowatt Studios. And I am a subcontractor or whatever you want to call it for Hemmings. And yeah, they're paying me a day rate to be their director and editor on a lot of things, except for the main video that we're working on, which is Hemmings Garage. First episode has already aired. That one I was first camera on, and the editor is Ryan Foss. Awesome guy. Like, over the past 3 months, I've learned an incredible amount of like just how to do like proper editing as well as filmography. So when we start rolling out, like the content is going to be far superior than anything I've ever produced before. Just need the snow to go away for just a week, for crying out loud. I was going to go work on it, and we got a foot. I'm like, because I need to get it up off the ground. We have to put structure inside the rear subframe. We have all new brakes all the way around for the Supra because we had issues with the remanufactured crap from Cardone. We have our fuel heat issue, which running fuel system at 150 to 170 degrees during a race is not a good idea. So we're going to be running much cooler fuel this year. Let's see. We have the whole fuel system is going to be replaced. So we have 3/8 line instead of the 5/16-ish line that is in there. All AN fittings. Everything's going to be done professionally. We're going to make sure we have all the tools for it, including buried in here. We have a flaring tool for the 45-degree angle that is the AN fittings. So we are going to put this car, like, we're going to work out all the bugs that we had prior to this year. And then we're going to take it to the valley. Actually, no. Then we got to get it dynoed. After we get it dynoed, I'll be able to give you a definitive number that we're making as far as horsepower. We're going to get it weighed. We'll weigh each corner so we know what kind of weight distribution it is. And then originally my plan was to take it to the next level and try to get to like 1,000 horsepower with the car. But then after doing one of our film shoots, actually this past film shoot on the second episode where I was the camera and director on, all that footage just went to Foss to get edited, and hopefully that comes out awesome. I'm really looking forward to that. And we have like 6 other episodes in the can waiting to everything. It's going to be freaking epic. So if you guys are waiting for my videos, that's why. I got to be able to fund all this because this is expensive, and I don't like asking for help. You know, I'm thick-headed, and you can ask my wife. But while I was doing the last film shoot, Douglas Glad, who has been from Carcraft to Hot Rod Magazine, you know, worked directly with David Freiberger with Roadkill. Another person, my direct contact is Jerry Pitt, who I have magazines. I have Carcraft magazines from before I was alive. I have them on my table. He was over the other day, and we were going over some shorts and stuff that they're going to be airing and trying to get everything worked out. And he was like, oh, yeah, we were talking about Carcraft. And I'm like, well, when were you in Carcraft? He was like, oh, late 80s. So I pulled a magazine, one of the 4 magazines off my table, and I was like this. And he opened it up, and his name was in Carcraft as the main writer. I was like, what? It was crazy. So when I was at the last shoot, I was talking to Douglas Glad, and I was explaining, some of the issues. You're chasing your tail trying to make a car go fast. It was never designed to go fast. Like the Supra was meant to be a GT car on the road and just have fun. And I'm trying to make this thing go into the mid tens. It doesn't make any sense to do it that way. And he goes, what you should be doing is finding a 4-link car. And I was like, oh, you mean kind of like my Buick's GS stage 1, or my Skylark GS clone? And he goes, yeah, and you get upgrade to the proper 4-link that you're going to need, and make it a back half car, and there you go. You have a drag car. Stop trying to kill yourself in the Supra and do it right. So the initial goal of eventually creeping that Supra up to 1,000 horsepower, we're going to pretty much just make it a really good drag car / autocross car / bring it to a Watkins Glen / bring it to Lime Rock, and still be able to drive it down the road. And we're going to lock it in there, and then we're going to turn the Buick into a drag car. Unless I can get a 3rd-gen Camaro. And then, of course, to recap, because a lot of you guys, 80% of you guys, let's see if the tally's still up here. If you haven't already, the poll, I don't see the poll anymore. Let me reopen that. But yeah, we're getting a Caprice PPV, and we're going to basically build a car that is meant to be a budget-friendly, yeah, the poll's gone, a budget-friendly race car that you can drive on the street and carry 3 kids in the back of it. Like, it needs to be a daily driver, grocery getter, reliable, and budget-friendly. It's got to be budget-friendly, because the Supra has not been budget-friendly. The Buick, not super friendly, but... Hey, Olive Drive, how you doing tonight? Hey! Oh, let's see. Colby changed his name now. It's X115 Lester Racing. What's up, bud? How you doing this beautiful Sunday? Obja says, do they make Supras with crazy straight line builds, but I prefer sporty Grand Touring? Yeah, like, the problem is there is a certain point where I would have to either put a 4-link in it, which means totally butchering that car, or butchering the rear subframe and installing a 8.8. But even then, it's limited on the power, and you're still not launching proper. Like, you don't have all the control you need for a drag car. But for an autocross car, if we want to drift it, we can drift it. I've never drifted before, but we could. We could take it to Lime Rock, which that's gonna have to happen. Stephanie says 81% of people said yes. See, I love you guys. For the 20%, I still love you, but why? It's a V8, it's gonna be great. Mexican Spec says a budget-friendly race car, does that exist? Yeah, it's an old police car. They're designed. It's also an Australian car that we've imported into the United States and labeled as the SS, the G8, the Caprice, and in China it was listed as a Buick something or another. But yeah, it can be done. We can do it. No worry, Olive Drive. We're pretty much like wrapping up, but always happy to welcome you. No such thing as being late. Yeah, an IROC, yes. IROC drag car, cool. Yeah, an old 80s, preferably like real late 80s, so newer than an 87. IROC. Or it doesn't even have to be an IROC. I really don't care. But yeah, that's kind of where inside my head. But if we do that, we need to go like straight Escape from New York color scheme, and it has to be able to do a wheelie. Like, that is required. See. You live in New York, build the road for a hill. Yeah, actually, it would not be a bad idea. Let's do 10 more minutes. I know Stephanie probably wants me to get off, but Stephanie, can you do another poll asking if they would like to see a hill climb run in the Adirondacks? Because there are, I've been hunting the Adirondacks. I've been hiking, camping, all over the upper Adirondacks. So I have a couple roads that I know for a fact would be super sweet to run, and it'd be a good proving ground for getting it ready for Power Tour. So I can hear her typing because I have a mechanical keyboard. She types wicked fast, way faster than I do. It sounds like. The Adirondack needs a blower. That thing will blow up. It's an LQ4 6.0, third gen, but that thing is. I don't think it's going to throw a rod or anything out, except for it does have third gen internals, so you got to be careful about that. It's not a third gen with fourth gen internals. So yeah, it looks like. Yeah, the poll's live. So we'll finish off fairly soon, but I want to see how you guys think about doing a hill climb run in the Adirondacks. If you want to see that, comment or hit that poll. Not in the comment section. Hit the polls. Go nuts. Let's see. Mexican Spec says the 1990 IROC was a front-wheel drive car. I don't know if that's true in New York. That seems. I think people would have lit that car on fire and burned it to the ground. Olive Drive says I used to see many IROCs. Oh, IROCs, probably IROCs, but it was autocorrect. In trees and wedged under bridges, they were poster cars and. Yeah, more money than skills. 100%. Those were great cars. And honestly, like they were quick. The problem is they were heavy. So if you got like the Ford Fox body, they were a lot quicker because they were a lot lighter. What's up, Captain Do? My dude. Make sure everyone hits that poll. I want to see that thing blow up. If you guys want to see a proper, like, we'll have to do it in the fall, right? So you get that nice foliage. We have to hit it right at the peak of when the trees change colors. Except you get all those people out of state coming. They want to, the leafers, the tree watchers. I mean, it's just maybe because I grew up with it constantly going on around me. 71 Chevelle says the police car is going to be some great content after it's done. Enter it in some drag and drive events. Yeah, it'll be a blast. I think that I have a bunch of thoughts. One, can my Supra outrun a cop car? Right? Can it? Like that would be a great video. Should you buy one of them? I think you should. But let's actually figure out if we can or if you should. Is it the fastest of the contemporary cop cars? Is it better than the Ford Taurus or the Charger? That's Captain Do. Happy birthday, 34th birthday, my guy. We almost have the same birthday. Almost. You're a few months old. Yeah, a few months older than me. Mexican Spec says Chevrolet lost the IROC and Chrysler used the name on the Dodge Daytona. Oh, those 80s Dodge Daytonas. I actually know where there's one where the guy who owns it, super cool guy, very interesting, and he's kind of a hippie. So everything is an experiment with him. So he drove that thing to the point where it was basically coming apart. Drove it into his backyard and then grew what do you call it? Grapevines all over it. Yeah, because people crash them. 100%. Dodge Daytona front wheel drive was yeah. Well, I don't, is that actually? Is that something similar to the Conquest? I can't remember. It's not something I'm really familiar with. Let's see. Olive Drive says there's more international race of champions than than they made with the addition of the Camaro. But yes, yeah. I don't feel that old, but Don Johnson said, that's funny. Okay, Kobe says, I chase you in the cop. Oh, I chase you in the cop car. Won't get away from me on these roads here. LOL. Actually, so I have a really good buddy who's a cop. I think it'd be really cool to actually have him run the cop car and he can chase me. Because then can I outrun a cop? Like, not only a cop car, but a cop who's trained proficiently in chases. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Not on the street though. Like we'll go to the drag strip. Dodge Daytona front wheel drive is a K car in the 80s. Well, I know what the Daytona is. I just don't know if it was related to the. Oh, I can't remember what I just said there. The Dodge. Not really up on the 80s Dodge because they kind of got a little funky to me. And the worst part is it's Lee Iacocca's fault. The man that brought us so much cool stuff turned into the K car into a thing. And we still have to live with that. I mean, they're not K cars anymore, but Christ, everything looks like a Corolla. Come on. Okay, it looks like we pretty much ran the 10 minutes, and you guys want to see it? Oh, Conquest. Yes, the Conquest. Is it related to the Conquest? Yeah. Oh, I cracked my back. Sitting for too long. I'm not used to sitting too long. All right, guys. You guys want to see a hill climb up in the Adirondacks? I knew I love you guys. So we're gonna probably do that when there's a. I don't know. Maybe we'll do it before the leaves turn to different colors, but we want to make sure it's not at a point where there's ice on the roads. So if it wasn't for the K cars, there would be no Hellcats. I mean, that's true. If Lee Iacocca did save Dodge with that. And then, you know, they keep making weird decisions. Sometimes they nail it on the head. You know, the Hellcat is an incredible car. And sometimes we get an electric Challenger, or is it a Charger? I don't know, whatever they're calling that new electric thing. But anyways, guys, we will definitely do that. I think that would be a great time. And I think the Supra will be the right car for that job. But until then, I appreciate all of you guys for being patient. We are hopefully going to have some nicer weather soon, and we'll be able to start digging into it. I know one of the big things I want to do with some of the funds we're making is build a garage so that I don't have to have this downtime next year, or at the end of this year into next year. We'll be able to continue working on our projects into the winter. And we have a really workable schedule for when I film. There's only 1 week out of the month that it kind of takes up the whole week. And then it kind of oscillates. And I should be able to kind of get everything to normalize, and we'll be able to get back to working on all of our projects and doing epic things. And I know I'm taking a week off from any filmography stuff or director stuff, whatever you want to call it, to do Power Tour. So we will be doing Power Tour this year with the Supra. The Supra will be Power Tour this year. And hopefully the Buick will be next year. So thank you all for being patient with me and for being just freaking awesome people. Till next time, keep your shiny side up. God bless.